I don't know, these cases are popping up all over the place. I got another neighbor now positive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the way it goes. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on my Bluetooth here. Not working. My
Careful, Shiffy.
there we go. Okay. All right, we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Looks like the Sunday night crowd over here.
I think maybe we should do earlier Sunday night.
Giants fans.
The Philly game is on.
8 o'clock.
We're calling Schwach.
I don't know. And Hanami, yeah, Sunday we could do earlier. Whatever the other wants.
I think 8 o'clock would be great on Sundays.
I vote
Not
for
earlier.
8 o'clock on Sundays.
I was gonna say 7, but okay, 8 works too.
7 or 6 maybe. 6 too early. Everybody's handling.
Six.
Why can't we do Sunday morning?
It's a little difficult for
Can I
me,
just
but I
see
could
that when
do it.
Landau reads it? So we're doing it, earlier?
You know what? He's got to show up in order to make my chod. So
That goes in. Is that empty? Go to the kitchen. That's yours. I gave you Shmuel 2 pieces.
Naftali, mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So the chazar from yesterday. Well, actually, it's 2 chazaras from yesterday. What's so funny, Peretz?
I'm just so happy that I always watch my language a half hour before the daf and a half hour after the daf, just in case I'm off with you.
Yeah, listen. That's what it says. Your language should always be like as if you're in front of Hashem, in front of a king, right? So I guess your language should always be like you're on being recorded on Zoom. Yeah. Okay. So to just the chazar from yesterday, I'm just gonna pull it up because it's on. Where is it? Yeah. So we said that yesterday's Daf Mem Beis was that a lav abam echlal asay normally is considered an asay, but Rabbi Yehuda said it's a lav, and we said that that's based on that it says in the pasuk at the beginning of that parsha, Vayidaber Hashem Moshe Lamar. So Lamar stands for la loy amar, that it's a lav. And then you have to spill out the baker has to spill out the water that he puts his hands into. It has to be in a place where the water doesn't accumulate. And then we said all the different precautions that you have to take when you're making the dough, which is that it's got to constantly be worked. You can't leave it, and put the hands into cold water so that the hands don't heat up the dough, etc., etc. And we said b'diavad, it's a machlokes. It's b'diavad. You didn't do these things. Will it make your matza into chametz? That was the end of the parak. Then we started the parak with all the different types of chametz, mixtures of chametz. We said are issur, and chametz nuksha too, which we'll get to tonight. And anything that has chametz in it is issur. That was the rule. And then we said all these health things that about what a pro-kutach, anti-kutach, whether it makes you go to the bathroom, stops you from going to the bathroom. Amud Beis was what are the chametz ingredients? And then we said that the wine was so good in Eretz Yisrael that in order to make it, the grapes were so good in Eretz Yisrael, in order to make it into wine, they actually had to add barley to it. And then it happens sometimes by Edom. Right, so Edom were also good, but never at the same time, because the Yidden and the Goyim can't both rule at the same time. Then we had whether temed, which is sort of how do we call it? Condensed, not condensed.
Concentrated.
Concentrate. Thank you. Right, the concentrate, the grape concentrate from seeds or from skins. Whether you have to take truvos and mices on that, and that's what we're up to. All right, so now we're on the bottom of membez and mebez. Yeah. So we're talking about what type of chametz is koilin shel seifrim. Okay, so koilin shel seifrim is something that it's some sort of paste that was made for the people that seifrim, scribes as they call it. Yeah. So what is it? Hacha, meaning here. What does it mean here in Bavel? Right, as opposed to Eretz Yisrael. Targuma pruda de ushkefi. I'm sorry. It's glue from a shoe. Ushkefi is a shoe, so it's glue that they put together the shoes. Rav Shimi, I'm sorry. Me Chazna Amar zeti pulan shel b'nai sashirim shem rishayir soisan leb'nai saniyim. It's some sort of hair removal mixture that the wealthy girls leave over to the poor girls. Right? So they're going to use this, and we're going to see this as the next bunch of lines in the Gemara. So it's some sort of hair removal thing that had chametz in it. Any, it's not true. Vatana Rebbe Chia Arba Mine Medina. There's 4 things that the country uses, that people from the country use. The Shloisha Mine Umnus, and 3 things that are done by people that are, workers, literally, but not meaning for talent, for people that have a talent, that have to fix things. And if you say that it means tipulon, this hair removal of the wealthy, what kind of mine umnus is that? Meaning, so it's a stira. Is this stuff that's done for hair removal, or is this type of stuff that's done for taking for people to work as glue, etc.? My piru de ushkefi. So then, what do you mean? Then what does it mean, piru de ushkefi? Right? Is it taka glue? Am I korile high kolon shel seifrim, kolon shel ratzanami boilis? And if that's the case, why are you calling it from seifrim, people that write svarim or whatever it is, kolon shel ratzanim? It should be called this paste that's made for people that deal with leather or shoes or whatever it is. So really, it's for shoes. So why are they calling it shel seifrim? The seifrim nami b'davkru b'nei saying, because the seifrim also use it to glue together their paper, right? Meaning, when you want to glue together to make a scroll, right? If you want to glue it together to make a scroll, so that they would use the same glue for shoes as to do a scroll. Now, scroll again, lav dafka scroll like for Yiddishkeit. It's a scroll for anything. So Mamela, that's why we call it shel seifrim. I still don't understand exactly what's the mitzvah to call it shel seifrim. Right? Just call it for shoemakers. Well, why go with the? Seems like it was used more by the shoemaker than it was by the seifrim. Right? So why not call it that? Okay. Fine. Even tachshitim of nashim. So now tachshite nashim literally means jewelry. Right? So tachshite nashim sagada, do you really think women's jewelry is chametz? Right? Elaema afti pule nashim. No, what it means is also the things that women use as hair removal or for beauty. Now we're on top of Aleph Shegiu, the Pirkan, right? To the B'nai Yisrael that reached to their time, meaning V'lo l'shanim, meaning they're already maturing, but they're not there in years. They're not there, meaning they're maturing ahead of time. So B'nai Saniyim, so now they want to do hair removal because they're not interested in looking older than they are. So B'nai Saniyim Taifles and Besid. So the poor people use sid, which has got to be really something. I mean, lime, you keep that stuff on for too long, that's really the least of the issue is gonna be hair, right? but that's what I guess they had to use. B'nais hashirim taruvos and b'silas. They used it with fine flour. B'nais malachim, kings, the daughters of kings, b'shemen hamor. Shenemar shisha chadashim b'shemen hamor. Right, 6 months with shemen hamor by the Megillah. Right. So that's how you know that kings use shemen hamor. My shemen hamor. Rav Huna bar Yirmi Amar satachas. It's something called satachas, which is very interesting because there's not many Rashis that say that where Rashi says he doesn't know, or Rashi says he doesn't know what it means. Right? Rav Yirmi bar Abba Amar shemen zayis shaloi hevi shlish. It's a shemen zayis, olive oil that did not grow a third. Meaning it's not grow. It's not ripe. It's only a third of the way ripe, or less than a third ripe. Tanya Rav Yehuda Aimer on fiknin. What's on fiknin? Shemen zayis shaloi hevi shlish. It's called the shemen zayis that wasn't a third. That's what a fiknin is. And why would you use it? It's a seir, ma'aden is a bosser. It removes the hair, and it literally makes the skin better. I guess I don't know exactly what it does to the skin, but some sort of makeup thing for
Says it makes it glow.
Makes it glow. Okay, so I don't know. Is the face red? I guess, right? Makes the face red. I would think lime would do that job. Right? But I don't know. Okay. Anyways, whatever the bottom line is they were dealing with hair removal back then, just like to deal with hair removal nowadays, right? Which is right with the Gemara in, I think, what is the Gemara in Shavuos? The Gemara in Nida, which says that was the einish that the women got by the churban, that they started growing body hair. It's an einish al churban. Yeah, I think it's in Nida. I think it's a Gemara in Nida. Right, because of, I don't know if they were preachers, there was preachers or something. Anybody remember what I'm talking about? Shmuley Sugar, you'll have to weigh in on this tomorrow morning on the WhatsApp. But I think there's something happened that they're part of their einish was the body hair growing. Okay, fine. Ze'aklal, kol shemim dogans, right? So the Mishnah says, the Mishnah goes through those bunch of different scenarios of mixtures of chametz, and then it says this is the rule: anything that has dogan in it. So that's grain. So Tani Amar of Yeshua b'chimiach sheshninu kol shu min dagan harei za'over b'Pesach. You're saying the last line in the Mishnah, which says as long as it has chametz in it, then you're over on Pesach. Lama maru chametz elu. So why are you telling us the specifics? Just say any type of mixture that has chametz in it is a problem. Why do you have to tell us all these specifics? So my answer is no, so that you should be rugged to know what has chametz and what doesn't, and to know ingredients, right? Somebody from Eretz Yisrael traveled to Babel, have a bisra bahadei, and he had meat with him. Yeah, Amar lahu krivu li maschilta. He asked for some maschilta, right? Which is Rashi says it's anything that you like a side dish to put onto the meat. Shama the kamri krivu le kutach, and he heard them say, "Bring him kutach," which is, I guess, they mixed it up with chilta and kutach. Even the shama kutach pir, since he heard that they brought him kutach, he didn't eat it because kutach has dairy in it. So they would have theoretically given him dairy and put it onto his meat. So that's why it's so important that you know what's in the ingredients, so therefore you don't get messed up, right? So it's interesting. So it comes out, according to this, you should get involved in what ingredients are you should read ingredient panels, and don't just leave it up to the heter. You're supposed to know what's inside things in order that you don't get messed over, right? So, I mean, it's funny, just mamish, the second that started with the daf, somebody just said that by mistake they had an OUD brownie mix. And they cooked it. Can they eat it? Now they keep Chol Yisrael. I said, I don't know. I'm doing fakir from the Gemara. I said, I don't know. Ask the OU. How should I know? Right? So that's l'chayra fakir from this Gemara. The Gemara is saying, no, you should know ingredients to know whether it's a problem or not. What are you saying, Gershon?
Gemara is mashma. You don't have to look at ingredients. It's worth knowing what every food is called in every country. If you're going to be traveling to Turkey, it's kedai to know what they call baba ganoush in Turkey, or b'chol. Whatever has chametz.
Correct.
in
I mean, but you have to know before you should know the names of things before you put it in
the
your
names
mouth.
of things
I
that
guess.
have chametz in, but not the ingredients necessarily.
Do you ever read some of the names of these ingredients they put into different recipes? I mean, there's all these ridiculous chemicals and such. You don't know what those are.
Right. Nowadays, nowadays it's much more complicated.
They're delicious. Just leave it alone.
They're delicious for they're quite.
There's a whole department in OU Kosher just to deal with flavoring of seltzers and the like. There's all kinds of things that go into them.
It's crazy. Mama's crazy. That's why everything nowadays needs a heter, right? Because you never know what could be into something, right?
But by Pesach, the bubbles of seltzer are the big issue. A lot of the carbon dioxide comes from beer manufacturing places.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so that's what it is. So Pesach especially, you have to know what's going on. Right? Okay, so Zogting what about So now we get into this whole a half Amud of is and ultimately there's going to be 3 shitas over what's the status of mixtures of there's 2 issues in our Mishnah. Mixtures of chametz, right? And chametz nuksha. Right, those are two things. Mixtures of chametz is like plain old chametz that you have mixed in, but it's not. Meaning, what would be an example? I don't know. Let's say a soft drink that has some wheat in it or whatever it is, right? So that would be a mixture. That's a mixture. Then you have chametz nuksha, which could possibly apply to a lot of medications and cosmetics and stuff like that, which is just could be chametz wheat products that are just never really made it to the chametz level, but it's definitely made out of wheat. So those are the two inyanim that our Mishnah is saying. And the shaila is there's 3 options. You're potter if you eat them, you're chayav kares if you eat them, or you're not chayav kares, but you're over on a lav. That's basically the 3 options that you have with these things. So the Gemara is going to go through the shitas. Right? So arei elu b'azara. Mantana, right? So all these is an ashara, meaning ashara means it's a lav in the Torah. That's what the Mishnah says. If you eat any of these things, or if you have them, then you're over on an ashara and a lav in the Torah. So Mantana the chametz dagon gomer al yidei taruvos v'nuksha be'enei belav. Who's the Tana that says that chametz dagon gomer means real, legit chametz, but it's a mixture. It's not like a piece of bread. That's obviously legit chametz. It's something mixed in. Some bread mixed in with things. Nuksha be'enei, and nuksha is real chametz. It's totally chametz, but it's not fully developed chametz. Meaning, for whatever reason, the chimutz stopped. So who's the mandamar that said that it's been a lav? Now I don't know. I have to tell you something from the shame my father who called up Reb Moshe Bick, and he asked him what's chametz nuksha. And he told him sponge cake is chametz nuksha. Does that make any sense? I mean, I understand sponge cake is mostly sugar, very little wheat in there. But he had told him that sponge cake is chametz nuksha. Okay, I don't know exactly. I would think that that's chametz. It's wheat, whatever flour mixed in, which happens to be a lot of sugar. But
why does it matter? Why does it matter whether it's taruvos or it's not taruvos? Because it's not batal anyways. Why would it matter whether it's taruvos or it's full-fledged just chametz by itself?
No, because maybe the Torah only assered as a lav or kares to eat actual chametz, but once it's mixed in with other things, the Torah didn't asser.
Is that
it's not about the mixture. It's not on. Yeah. Well, the Gemara on the bottom of the Amud is gonna discuss where the pasuk comes from.
If there's no bittul when it comes to chametz, that it could go. It's always going to be present. Why would it matter how much is in there, or if you're eating it with other things? It's chametz,
right? And a chanami, but I don't think this is.
Why do we look at the taruvos? Well, then what would constitute taruvos?
No, it's anything taruvos would not have. Anything taruvos is going to bring us into this machlokes.
I'm saying what?
Barley cholent be chametz taruvos chametz.
What?
Cholent with barley. It's taruvos chametz.
Cholent with barley. Why is that? Yeah, that's a taruvos chametz. Right.
Well, it's not noticeable.
What do you mean if it's not? What, the barley? Well, barley. Well,
I mean,
depends
it's
what the
noticeable. It's only not. It's only a shadow when it's not noticeable.
I mean, it's right. So that's the thing. So it seems like what the Gemara is saying is that when it's a mixture, when the chametz is in a mixture, the Torah didn't answer that. That was not the chametz that the Torah was talking about that you're ever allowed.
But, I mean, we're talking about over here where you can't see it. That's what we're talking about.
Well, I don't know. It's just that you could see it. Yeah, is it talk if you don't see it? I wasn't sure.
Totally blended, dog. I mean, that's what I guess. Sorry, I was looking at the article. That's the way the article said it.
That's fine.
Rashi says it that way. Rashi does say it that way. Ve'ena be'en sheni muach, Rashi says.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that. Okay, I don't know. Okay, how do you define nimuach? Nimuach, yeah, enochanami. Nimuach is that you can't tell.
Like licorice.
Eina be'en is licorice. Is licorice nimuach? Licorice is not be'en.
Licorice would be nimuach. Because you can't see it, you don't feel it, you don't touch it. There's nothing,
That's only because you don't know. That's only because you don't know that it's wheat in there that's acting as the binder, right?
Well, why is that? Why is barley Why is barley more of a chametz taruvos than a licorice?
What?
So you were suggesting a second before that barley would have been a taruvos, and
no.
That's
no,
much bigger
licorice.
than
Avada, no, 100%. Licorice is avada taruvos. No, I'm not denying that. I agree with you. But what I'm saying is that at what point do you call nimuach? Nimuach l'char is that you can't see it, or when you know that it's chametz, right? Nimuach is pshat that it's melted down, right? So you have a piece of challah, right, and you dip it into soup, right? So kolzman that you could see that it's challah. That's not nimuach. But once it thickens it, but now you know that the soup is thickened because of the challah or because of the wheat, but you can't actually tell that it's wheat, right? Right, Akiva, I'm saying that's l'chayra. Yeah. So, okay, whatever it is, it's not. Yeah, but I think that's more of an issue. Is that when you could see the barley, you could pick up the barley. It's no longer a taruvos, right? But kolzman that it's with the other things, then it is a taruvos. So, but if you could see it, then you'd be mechuyev to remove it. Then we're going to get into the whole tam thing. That's going to be tomorrow's. That's going to be tomorrow's daf as Hashem. Okay, whatever it is.
But even when you can see it and remove it, even when you can see it and remove it, it's machlokes rishonim whether that's called a taruvos or not. In hilchos taruvos, at least. Why is chametz any different?
What are you saying?
In hilchos taruvos, even if you can remove every piece, it's still a machlokes rishonim if it's called a taruvos or not.
Well, that's because tam ke'ikar.
No, even without that, if you need to remove it, don't call it taruvos.
It
the
is.
Mosque is the one that's the most machmir. You have to remove everything, even fat. But other than that, you have Kama Shitas of Rishonim that say you don't have to remove anything. It's still a taruvos.
Right. Okay. Enochanami. So let's see how the Gemara goes. Right? Montana the chametz dog and gomer al de taruvos nuksha be'ene belav. Right. Let's just make sure one thing is clear. Chametz nuksha is be'en, meaning you could see whatever it is that it is, sponge cake or challah that never rose or never made it, but you could tell whatever it is, you could see that. Masha'en kain, chametz dog and gomer through taruvos is something that you can't see straight out. You may know that it's chametz, but you can't see straight out that it's chametz, right? Some Rav Yehuda Rav Meir, it's Rav Meir. The Tanya Sior. Now this is not Sa'ar. This is different. Sa'ar is when you touch Sa'ar, leaven, right? That's what you use to make dough rise. This is not. This is some sort of dough that didn't become, for whatever reason, never made it to become full-fledged chametz. So Sior Yisarif, you have to burn it. And you can give it to your dog. But if somebody eats it, you get malchus. So you see clearly that it's a lav. But then the Gemara asks, Hagu for kasha, Yisarif, it says it itself is a kasha, because it says you have to burn it. No. Why would you have to burn it? If it's not also to benefit from it, why do you have to burn it for? So clearly it says that you burn it. That's also about no. Then it goes and says that you give it to your dog. I'm a mutter ba'ano. So you see that it's mutter ba'ano. So which one is it? So Gemara answers, Hachikomer, Ser Yisarif, the Rameir, the Rameir, the Rabbi Yehuda, the Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to see in a few blot that the Machlokes is exactly what the issur is. How do you describe it? Does it have cracks in it? Is it white? Is the face of the roll, let's call it a roll, a challah roll, white or not? So whatever it is. So according to Rameir, Rameir's version of it, you'd have to burn it. Rabbi Yehuda's version of it, you'd have to burn it according to Rabbi Yehuda. And what does it mean to give it from a dog? The Rameir, the Rabbi Yehuda. Rameir's version of what this is, you're allowed to, according to Rabbi Yehuda, allowed to give it to the dog. And the one who gets 40, that's awesome. And if you eat it, you get 40 because that's going back on Rameir. Fine. So then the one says, Shamina Leila Rameir nuksha be'en belav. So now we see that according to him, nuksha be'en, meaning this chametz that's not fully developed, then it's a lav. So kol shekain chametz dog and gomal al yidei taruvos, and a kol shekain real chametz through a mixture, right? What's the pshan of the kol shekain? I don't know who says. I mean, it comes out to the Gemara's thinking that real chametz in a mixture is more strict than chametz nuksha that's not in a mixture, right? Okay, I don't know why that should be. I guess because one is developed and one is not, but that the Gemara is assuming that as a davar pashut, that a mixture of real chametz is stronger, is more issur than chametz nuksha that's be'en, that you see the whole piece, right? So Rav Nachman over Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Nachman says no. So far we have one sheet that says ambitious Rameir. But Nachman says Rabbi Elazar, that it's Rabbi Eliezer, the Tanya al chametz dog and gomer onish chorus. Okay, he's more machor. He says chametz dog and gomer. Well, I'm sorry, no, that's not a mixture. He says it's onish chorus. That's everybody. Al eruvai belav. If you mix it, it's a lav. They're Rabbi Eliezer. That's Rabbi Eliezer shita. Al chametz dog and gomer onish chorus. Al eruvai belai klum. On a mixture of chametz, you get nothing. Right? No problem. For Shamina leil Rabbi Eliezer. And we hear, according to Rabbi Eliezer, that chametz dagon, right, gomor through taruvos is a lav, and it's a kol shekei nuksha be'enei. So he's saying the opposite, right? Here, his shita is, Rabbi Eliezer's shita is that chametz nuksha is stronger, more issur than real chametz that's mixed in with something else. For Rav Nachman, my time Elohim Rabbi Yehuda. So, okay, so why does Rav Nachman not say like Rabbi Yehuda? Right, meaning that the mission is Rameir. So Amar Loch is going to say to you, no, Dilma Adkan like Rameir. Awesome, Ella nuksha be'ene. Maybe he's only talking about Rameir. Is only talking about nuksha be'en. Avol chametz talking gomer like de taruvos loy. But who says this chametz gomer like de taruvos? Meaning the assumption that you made that real chametz as a mixture is more issur than chametz nuksha. Who said that assumption is correct? Rabbi Yehuda, my time Elohim Rav Nachman. Rabbi Yehuda, you don't say like Rav Nachman that it's that the Tana and Amish is Rabbi Eliezer. Amalach Adkan like Rabbi Eliezer also Amalach Chametz Dagan Gomer Yidei Taruvos. No, he was only talking about real chametz mixed in with other things. Avol nuksha be'enei lo yamar. But who says he said nuksha be'enei?
Who said if it's a kol shekain according to both of them, whether it's nuksha or chametz dagan gomer, that's eruve. Maybe that's taka karis. Meaning, if that's a kol shekain, why is it a kol shekain only that it's going to be a lav? Maybe it should even be like, it should be on the level of regular chametz gomer. If it's more chamer, and that's why it's a kol shekain, why is it then still on the lower category? Why shouldn't it be part of chametz gomer be'etzem?
It's certainly not going to be on the same level as real chametz.
Why not? Are we memayit it? Like, why shouldn't it be chametz? If we're saying it's worse than whatever it is, chametz nuksha or chametz gomer dagan al de taruvos, and it's a level higher than that because it's a kol shekain according to whoever holds what, then why is it a chametz gomer?
No, because there's three madregas. There's chametz gomer. It's chametz. What?
Where are they coming from? They're not darshaning it. They either darshan one or the other. The other one's not fitting into that category. So it's either chametz gomer. Where does this middle category if it's a kol shekain? We're not darshaning it. The drush is only for the first one, for the lesser one. And you're saying it doesn't fit into the drush of the other one. So which one does it fit into? Why doesn't it fit into chametz gomer? It's a kol shekein. It's obviously a higher level.
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
Wouldn't
We'll
you say
see.
ein einshin min adin?
I'm not saying it's einshin min adin. I'm saying
He's
that it's
not-
chametz gomer.
Akiva's asking,
Trying
like,
to
who
give him
says that
kares
this?
from a kal v'chomer.
I'm not saying a kal v'chomer. I'm saying they obviously hold b'mitzias is more chomer. So then why is it a
but
chametz gomer?
They're both starting from the starting point for both of them is that it's not chametz gomer. Neither of them
Why?
are chametz gomer.
I'm asking why not? That's exactly my kasha.
Well, there's a svara for both of them why they're not chametz gomer because it's not bread. It's either there's a bittul and just punked. It's we don't
It's
hold
not a
the
bittul. It's
heter.
asur midaraisa. It's obviously not mevatel. That's obviously not true. It's not batel. It's asur.
How? That's the point.
Chametz. You can't be mevatel chametz, so it's not asur.
Can you not be mevatel chametz midaraisa at all on any level? Just because it's asur b'hana means there's no bittul, the cloud to make it 5 kares. Who said that? Where are you getting that from? Of course,
It's not
there's
batel.
bittul. It's not bittul, meaning it's still alive. Because bittul works just like it does everywhere
Well,
else.
It's
Yeah.
bittul halfway. It's like a little pregnant. What does that mean?
Okay,
Something
so
like
let's
that.
see one second. Let's see the end of the Gemara. Maybe it'll get clear because we that's where the Gemara discusses the psukim, right?
Excuse me, Yaakov, where are you?
I'm in quarantine.
Right. I'm funny there.
We're
I'm for-
We're Pesachim? Okay, good. Yeah, so now, thanks, Parrot. You
Now
narrow it
it-
down.
Eventually we'll get
wide, 4 wide lines down in the
Where?
Mem Gimel Amud Aleph.
In Pesachim.
Akiva. So okay, let's wait for the psukim and then we'll see. Yes, so Tanya comes say to Rabbi Yehuda. And here we start with the psukim. We have a price like Rabbi Yehuda. Kol machmetzes lo yisechelu. It says all machmetzes lo yisechelu. So what's the call? The rabbi is kutach habavli v'sheicher amadai chametz adaymi v'zeisam emitzri. That's coming to include, right, all these things, meaning anything that has any sort of chimutz to it. Yeah, yachol ye'onish kares. So you would say, okay, so why not chametz onish kares? Right? It should be onish kares. Why not? I mean, that not why not, but that's because that's what it's talking about. So Tamaloymar ki kol oichel chametz v'nichrisa, right? It says because every food of chametz you get kares. Al chametz dagon gomer onish kares. On real chametz you get kares v'alei ruvay belav, and if it's just a mixture, it's a lav. Yeah. So man shamalei damer alei ruvay belav. Who's the one that says that the mixture is a lav? We said Rabbi Elazar. Bilu nuksha ve'enei lo kamer, and he makes no mention of chametz nuksha. Ve'enei shmami no nuksha Rabbi Elazar lesle. So must be that Rabbi Elazar does not hold of nuksha. Akiva, does that answer your kasha or it doesn't? Is this one? Akiva, you there?
Not sure. I'm trying to understand this Gemara, to be honest. So,
Okay. So we'll see about it. You'll get back to us, right? So that's what we're saying. So meaning it seems to be that it's from the pasuk that you're not going to get kares. Rabbi Elazar eruve belav minale. Okay, so how does Rabbi Elazar know that eruve belav? How do you know that? Tichsiv kol machmetzes leisechelu, because it says kol machmetzes, anything that makes chametz. Yachi kares nami lechayev. Then if that's the case, you should be chayev kares. Tichsiv ki kol oichel machmetzes v'nichrisa. So the Gemara answers no. Haumi ba'ilil Tanya that we need for a different price because machmetzes ainly elashinas chametz mi elov. That's only something that became chametz by itself, meaning like challah, right? Challah, cake, whatever it is, it becomes chametz on its own. I don't know if challah does. The truth is, well, I guess, right? It's the wheat, the flour with the water. Machmas davar acher minai. What happens if it becomes chametz through something else? Meaning you drop in what do you call it? Aaron's wife. What is it you drop into your stuff? Starter, yeast, or what's it called? What the name
Starter,
of
leaven.
the starter? Sourdough, right? The sourdough, right? The sourdough stuff. Yeah. Or something like that. Machmas davar achar minayin. How do you know that even if it became chametz because something else made it become chametz? Tamalaymer kol machmetzes v'nichruso. So that's what it says. Kol machmetzes v'nichruso. Hihachi, saying what it says. If so, meaning so that's why we need kol machmetzes v'nichruso to tell you that not even something that doesn't become chametz on its own, right? It's something from something else that you're going to get karas, but not a mixture. Hihachi de lav nami. If that's the case, then you need a lav for that too, right? Meaning that's what the lav should be coming for. Ela time of the Rebbe Lazar mikol. Rebbe Lazar learns it out from mikol, right? So that's how he knows. So hasam nami yaksiv kol kutzo. If that's the case, it says kol machmetzes also. Okay, so now we go totally in a different direction here, right? That kol is coming to tell us that women also can't have chametz, right? Much to our chagrin, that women are involved and they have the issur of chametz. It would make Pesach a whole lot easier, right? If women were not included in the lav of chametz, but right? But unfortunately, they are included, right? That's what the Gemara is saying. So the Gemara asks the Pasha the Kasha, Nashim Yuda Amarav Nafka. Nashim are included that you know from Yuda Amarav, the Amar of Yuda Amarav, v'chein Tana Dvei Rabbi Shmuel, Amar Kra Isha Isha Ki Yasa Mikol Chatas HaAdam. It says Isha Isha who does any avera. Hishva Kasav Ishla Isha L'chal Anshei Shabbatar. We know that a man and woman are equal for all Anshim in the Torah, which Rashi says. Rashi on the bottom line says Mikan Shanoshim Chayavis Al Kol Loisa Sesha B'Torah Sheri Anshin Malkus. Any women are chayav in any Loisa in the Torah. That's Malkus. So meaning if we know from Isha Isha Kiyas and Migol Chatas Adam that women have every Loisa in the Torah, so why do I need a special pasuk to tell them that they also have to keep chametz, that they're not allowed to have chametz? So the one says Itzrich, you need it. Right now on Tomei Beis, Itzrich Sakadai to Chamina. I would have thought, it says in the pasuk, you shouldn't eat chametz shivas yom taichel of matzahs. You should eat matzahs for 7 days. Whoever is in the mitzvah of eating matzah also is in the avera of eating chametz, of not eating chametz. Vani nashi, and these women less than bekum echol matzah. Since they're potter from eating matzah, tavile mitzvah sesesha zman grama. I'm abachal babal chametz nami less new, so maybe they're also not in the issur of chametz. Kamashmala that they are in the issur. They are in the issur of chametz, right? So meaning, really, you shouldn't need a pasuk to say that women are not allowed to eat chametz. But the problem is that you might have this limud that's only people that have to eat matzah are included in the issur of eating chametz. But if you don't have to eat matzah like women, because it's mitzvah seishas man grama, so then maybe they wouldn't be in chametz either. So comes the pasuk of kol to tell us no, that women are chayiv to keep Pesach and they're not allowed to eat chametz.
Is there a separate pasuk for women for fasting on Yom Kippur or the 5 Inuyim or something like that? Like, is there anything separate where you have? Is there any other case where you would have a situation like this, that you'd have a separate pasuk to single out women that are included with men for something like for something like this? I mean, it's very strange.
Well, we have similar to why the women are chayiv in Kiddush, right? Why women are chayiv in Kiddush? It's a mitzvah seishas man groma. So we say anybody who's in the how does it go?
Anyone who's chayiv in Shama or
Shama, you got to chayiv in Zachar.
Okay.
Right. So there is right. So there you
but
see
that's
that.
Not a losas say. That's not a losas say. That's not a separate losas say that you're including them in.
What do you mean, Shabbos?
No, here.
You there?
I mean, think here, right? You're telling me that no, it's coming to include women. It's separate. You need separate psukim to talk about women and eating, not eating chametz and eating matzah because the mitzvah seishas man grama. Okay, so fasting on Yom Kippur is also mitzvah seishas man grama. Well, there's no separate pasuk to tell us that women have to fast on Yom Kippur. I think there's no separate pasuk to tell. So is eating chametz. So is eating chametz.
And a chanami, but why?
So there's no separate pasuk to tell me that women have to fast on Yom Kippur. Why is there a separate pasuk to tell me that women can't eat chametz?
Because that's what we're saying. Because you might have thought that we compare eating matzah to chametz. And if you're not mechuyev to eat
So it's the
matzah,
mitzvah says on grandma, they don't have a chiyuv to eat matzah, so therefore maybe they don't have to eat, maybe they could eat chametz.
right? So then Kamashmal and the pasuk's coming to tell you, no go, right? But then see, this is the thing. But now the Gemara turns it on its head. The Gemara says, "V'hashta this Ravalu b'baltei chametz, it's Ravu nami lechilas matzah." And now that we know that they're not allowed to eat chametz, and now they got to eat matzah too. So now we're going in circles, right? They're mechayiv in achilas matzah, right? It doesn't mean and they mechayiv to say a dvar Torah. That's not what that means. Okay, although many women choose to think that they are mechayiv to say dvar Torah, but it doesn't mean that. It means that nashim mechayiv b'achilas matzah from the Torah. Shenemer lo yisachal olav chametz, kol sheyeshu b'baltei chametz yeshu b'achilas matzah. Right, so if you have the issur of chametz, you also have the chilas matza. Ani nashi, nami hoil v'yeshnu b'baltei chametz yeshnu v'kol echol matza. Right, so now we turn it on its head. So we had a havamina that they should be potter, and now we're saying no. They not only are they chayiv in chametz, but memela, since they're chayiv in chametz, midairaisa they're chayiv to eat matzah too, even though it's a mitzvah seish as man grama. Which that is really more comparable to Shabbos, right? So since they're in the lav of eating chametz, memela in the asay of eating matzah, right? That's what it's saying. Yeah. Okay. So that's the end of that of the mitzvah seish man grama gemara. Yeah. So then the Gemara says, okay. So now, but the bottom line is, what are we holding? We're saying that the kol.
Yaakov, excuse me.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if it's strange or not, but the mitzvah of matzah is one kazayas, one night, and the lav is 8 days. So they're not comparable. I just thought of that. I have no idea if well.
Doesn't the pasuk say for Shiva Yon Tochu Matzos?
No, that's you can't eat because you can't eat rye bread. You don't have to eat matzah.
The pasuk says you don't have to eat matzah all 7 days. You're saying the mitzvah is only the first night. Okay.
Parents can eat 3 roasts a day for the 8 days. It has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, I hear that it's not mamish the same.
Yeah, it's
okay, but Kiddush also Shabbos. That's an interesting order, right? Shabbos is also the whole day, and Kiddush is only once to be Mekadosh today. I hear. Okay, but the maskonas of Gemara now.
What's this man Yaakov? What's this man?
Pesach?
No, the zman of matzah, is it the zman that like the briskers you have to eat it in 12 minutes?
No, it means that you're only supposed to eat it one night. It's a mitzvah at night. One night a year. There's
so
only
that's
one mitzvah.
The zman that they.
Yeah, that's the zman. So the only one night a year, which by the way is the only time that there's the only mitzvah deraisa you get a whole year to eat a specific food. Right, is matzah, right? More nowadays is the rabbanon. There's mitzvahs to eat, but that's not a specific food. The only one time matzah is the only deraisa of Zman Hazeh to eat a specific food, and it's time related. It's a time bound mitzvah, right? Fine. So now whatever it is, the maskana of the Gemara is.
What about challah? What about gzayis on sukkos?
No, that's every Yom Tov. It's not a specific food. It could be matzah, it could be challah, you could use matzah. Right? Yeah.
Oh, we could use matzah.
Yaakov, if you hold like those shitas that you could even bring a carbon pesach, it's possible nowadays you can be mechoyev in carbon pesach.
yeah, that's true. If you hold that, the truth is, I think the most places can hold you can bring a carbon pesach.
Wasn't that a shallow to keep it?
I think so.
So I'm saying, didn't they talk about that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they held I think they held right. Yeah. So, anyways, but the bottom line is that we have 2 ways to call. You can either say that call comes to tell you that a mixture of chametz is issur, or call is coming to tell you women. So the Gemara asks, "My chazis," right back in the Gemara, "My chazis the high call who says that this call is coming to include women and to exclude a mixture of chametz? Maybe the other way around. Maybe it's coming to include the mixture and exclude women." So the Gemara says, "No, mistavra kaiba oichlin marba oichlin." If we're talking about people that are eating, so now we're going to include people that are eating. If we're talking about eaters, are we gonna include those that are eaten? Meaning, we're talking about who's in the mitzvah of chametz, right? So l'chayra, we're talking about who's in the mitzvah or in the lav of eating chametz. So we're going to say it's coming to exclude. It's coming to include a woman, meaning we're talking about eaters. Men are eaters, and we're going to include a woman, right? We're not going to go to including a type of chametz, which is not an eater; it's an eatin, right? Meaning we want it to be uniform. So we're talking about somebody who's eating. We're going to include somebody who's eating. We're not going to jump to start to include or exclude something that's eaten, right? We want it to remain uniform. So then the Gemara is going to ask a kasha now, where you see that you don't do this. Yeah.
When do we say the idea of avhein hayubayis on mitz?
You don't say that by a deraisa. You don't say that by a deraisa.
You say it right. So that's a good question. It's a good question. You say it by Purim and Chanukah. Purim and Chanukah, we say it. Right. And not only that, but by the Purim and Chanukah, we say that it's not only it's avhein, we even say that they were part of the nace, right? They were. But that's, you would say it on the Rabbanan, the Yom Tov. Yeah. So, Maskef Rav Nasan Amud Rav Huna Brei Rav Nasan v'Chalei the Kaiba Eichlan leMaber Nechalan. Is that true? Whatever we're talking about, eaters, we're not gonna include eatin. But Tanya Kikal Eichel Chayla Min Avehema Sheyakriv. Right. So the fats of an animal that you're being makriv, so you're not allowed to eat them, right? Yeah. So ainly, and there's a chiyuv kares. Ainly ala chaylev tmimin. That only tells you chaylev from an animal that doesn't have a mum. Sharoi likarev, that you're allowed. So mainly you would be able to be makriv it. Chaylev bali mumin minayin. How do you know that chaylev from a bal mum is also you're not allowed to eat them? Right? It says from a behema. Chaylev chulin minayin. How about chaylev of chulin? That's not hektish. It says kikol. Right? And here we were talking about who's not allowed to eat it, right? That you're not allowed to eat chaylev. And then we start talking about the different types of chaylev. Chaylev from a palmum, chaylev from chulin, right? So the pasuk is referring to people that are not allowed to eat it. And then all of a sudden we start referring to the food. So why can't you say the same thing by Pesach? So when answers Haslam to like Eichlin, Marvin and Cholin, there's nobody to include. Right? There's nothing else. Right? Rashi says, because women are already included, like we said when Rabbi Yehuda, that every issur women are included. So what kind of other Eichlin are you going to include here? You included all humans already, so who else should it be talking about? So Mamela, you have to jump to things that get eaten. And here, let me just finish that. Here, where we're talking about eichlin, we're not going to leave eichlin, which is women, to be marbe types of chametz. We're going to stick with eichlin. By chaylev, we had nothing else to include. Okay, so we'll jump to foods that get eaten, the types of chaylev that you're not allowed to eat. But by Pesach, we're talking about eaters, and then it's including eaters. Whatever. Rabbanan the leslu eruv, and the Rabbanan who don't hold of eruv, what about them? So what do they do with the word kol? Kol loy darshi. They don't darshan the word kol. So ela nashim in alu. So how do they know women? Kol loy darshi, ki kol darshi. No, they don't darshan the word kol, but they do darshan ki kol oichel machmetza. So ki kol they darshan. What do you want to say, Rabbi?
What Akiva could be thinking about is the Dalet Kaisis. That's the Rabbanan, and the ladies are included in Dalet Kaisis because of Afhein Hayabais and Ness. That's why they're chayiv in the Dalet Kaisis. It's a Rabbanan.
Is that what we end? Is that what we end up saying?
You'll end up with whenever you have that. There's a Tais for some. I don't know where in the Masechta. Maybe in Yeah, so there's the three Rabbanans that ladies get because of Afein Hayabais and Ness.
Is that what we say? I thought we just included them because they were included in all the other mitzvahs of the night. No.
Mara is not a deraisa.
No.
Mara is not a deraisa on the night.
Only when there's a
carbon Pesach. But if there is a carbon Pesach and Mara is a deraisa, the women are also chayiv in that too. So chayiv in all three mitzvahs Sasei Shazman Grama that are deraisa.
I would think so because I think kol sheyesh be'echol. I think it says also if you're in matza, you're in mara. I think. Well, that's the show we do Avri Pesachim. Well, the Gemara is gonna discuss it. But again, women, the Maisa, nowadays, women do mitzvah seishas man gromas. And Ashkenazim make brachas even. Sfardim don't make a bracha on mitzvah seishas man gromas, but the Ashkenazim do. What's the only one mitzvah seishas man groma that women don't do? I don't know if is it the only? Riddle of the night. What's the only mitzvah seishas man groma that women don't do? Really, they could do.
Mariv?
A Mariv? No. Well, so first of all, some women do. Some women don't matter. Tzitzis. Right? Well, you can really go with tefillin too, but tefillin is a shiloh whether it's a mitzvah seishas man groma. But tzitzis is the one mitzvah that they don't do. Not really clear why they don't do it. But it just became like everybody sees these women and the woman where tzitzis. It's not the worst thing in the world. If you really get down to it, I'm sorry, I know I'm being recorded here, but it's not the worst thing in the world that women wear tzitzis. Just became like a Kabbalah that the women are not wearing tzitzis. Okay, whatever it is. Let's see weiter.
You don't mind tweeting that out now, do you?
Yeah.
Parents
Maybe
put it
for
down
the
for Matza Shabbos.
What's the Shabbos, parents? What's the Shabbos? Yeah. Fine. But Rabbi Lazar, Ema call the rabbis to Sanoshim. Ki call the rabbis to say Ruve. And Rabbi Lazar, he's going to say call comes to include women. Ki call comes to include any mixture of chametz. Lazar loy darish. And if you're going to say Rabbi Lazar doesn't darshan ki call, Vatanya sa'ar bal taktiru. Right? Sa'ar, you're not allowed to bring sa'ar as
Anyone else humming the Jeopardy theme?
if even a little bit is Tamalaymar, call. I'm sorry. Then it says the word call, so therefore it has to be call, meaning that it's any type, as long as there's any sort of chametz in it. So then eruva minayin. How do you know a mixture? Tamalaymar ki call. So man shamalei the darish call. Who's the one that we know darshan's call? Rabbi Eliezer. The Kadarish Kikol, and you see that he does darshan Kikol, right? So therefore, so Rabbi Eliezer should be able to darshan both. That an eruv of chametz is. I'm sorry, I started explaining the kasha incorrectly. Rabbi Eliezer, we're asked with the first part. Rabbi Eliezer, Ema kol rabbis esanoshim ki kol rabbis es. I read that as a statement. That's a kasha. Rabbi Eliezer, Ema kol rabbis esanoshim ki kol rabbis es eruva, and then everything is good. And Rabbi Eliezer would have to say that women are chayiv and also a mixture of chametz is chayiv. Ki kol Rabbi Eliezer loy darish. And if you say ki kol, Rabbi Eliezer doesn't darshan. Vatanya sa'ar bal taktiru. Ainli alakuloi. That only tells you that if it's a full carbon of sa'ar of chametz. Miktsasa minayin, how do you know a little bit? Tamalaymer kol. Eruva minayin, how do you know eruva? Tamalaymer ki kol. Man shamalei the darish kol. Who do we know that darshan's kol? That's Rabbi Eliezer, because darish ki kol, and he's also darshan ki kol. So kasha, the Gemara says it's a kasha. Yeah, and it's a kasha. And Rabbi Eliezer, why taka? He does not darshan kol and ki kol to tell you that taruvos chametz you would be chayiv on a love. Okay, that's enough. Good enough, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all. Oh, we should have done this learning for Refuah Shalema for Rabbi Kellemer. We should have Refuah Shalema. He's not. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, my brother had a shell about ovens. If you get like one of those double ovens that also has a built-in convection, does that have an issue in terms of, cleaning it, self-cleaning it, because it has a built-in convection? Both. Stam and for Pesach.
It's a convection, and
I think a convection is built into the regular oven.
I think that you just put it onto self. As far as I know, you put on self clean, and then it's
meaning
okay.
The convection part doesn't make it any worse in terms of cleaning it.
Correct. I think the ones that do have the issue are. What's the name of those ovens? Not constant clean. I don't remember what it is. I think, as far as I know, they're okay. As far as I know, they're okay.
Okay.
You want to double check? You could check the Star K website. They're the
Yeah.
they're the Bekim and this stuff. Yeah,
That's what
but I
you're
think
basing
it's
it off of?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you just go on the Star K website and they,
Okay.
yeah, they're
Fine.
Bekim and all this. All right.
Nice, got it.
Fine and dandy. All right, everybody. Sag is
Yaakov, Parrot said he sent
Yeah.
you some stuff for the website.
I don't know. I didn't get anything. I know Sunteg's been
No,
working on
some
it.
lady sent me a thing. I forgot. I gotta